Andy, how many pull-ups can you do?
Loads, obviously.
Sarah?
One more than Andy.
Well, Rick, do you go to the gym? You hardly talk about it at all.
Oh, no, never me.
Yeah.
Gym. Yeah, I was in a blue moon. Well, welcome to the Running Channel podcast with me, Rick Kelsey, Arnold Baddeley and Sarah Schwarzenegger over there. Yeah.
That's the biggest compliment you've ever paid me.
Today we are talking and actually asking the question, do you need to go to the gym to be a better runner?
Yeah, Rick has swapped his usual cup of tea for a protein shake this week. Or is it usually a margarita? You never
10
know.
a.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Don't worry though, we will also be covering the latest running news as well as answering your questions. So let's get into the madness.
Sarah, we got absolutely panned last week for taking the mick out of Owen.
I know,
Owen was trying to do a
guys.
brilliant job, wasn't he? And get a word in edgeways between you two chatterboxes.
Yeah.
And now
You know
that I'm
what?
back, I feel like I need to stick up for him. Poor Owen.
That is the second time we've received that feedback. Tom also said that it was quite hard to get a word in edgeways. So maybe we need to tone it down. However, I do think people kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You grilled him for 7 minutes at the start.
I think that's what
I
people
think
want to hear.
we needed to introduce him to the audience.
Yeah, and that involves, a harsh interview.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Well,
our TRC Meets guests get a much more pleasant.
thing is, though, he took a holiday this week.
Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah, Owen has
He's not
left the
actually
building.
in the room.
Literally. You know who else I got a message off this week? Our lovely podcast fan, Ross Noble.
Yes.
Hey,
What
Ross.
did Ross say?
Ross was like, I'm so sorry for calling you Princess Snarky. And I was like, no, own it. Absolutely
Yeah,
own
well,
it.
it's not the worst that you've been called. I had someone come up to me at the Parkrun on Saturday that I went to back on the Wirral, and they were like, oh, what is Sarah really like? Because about 50% of the time, I think she's amazing. And then 50% of the time, I think, ooh.
Was that just someone you knew? Or
No,
not?
never met them
okay.
before.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So good. Look, I am a lovely person. I'm just very good at, giving out.
in
Yeah.
fairness, I stuck up for you and I was like, oh no, the 50% of the time when you like her, she's like that all of the time. She gives as good as she gets. So it's
Yeah.
just...
I do give a good I get. I just feel like I'm on, friendly terms with everyone. So that's why I rip into you both.
If you haven't listened to the Ross Noble episode yet, by the way, go back about 3. It's very amusing.
It's so good.
It's
So
you
good.
guys wheeled me out. Not only did you replace me with Owen last week, but usually you don't let me do the interviews with the lovely guests, but this time you let me go and speak to Ross, which is very cool. I think actually, Sarah, you just couldn't make it.
No, yeah, I was on holiday, but gutted.
You were at a
He was
spa, weren't you?
absolutely brilliant. Very,
I
very
was at
funny.
a spa.
Yeah.
I was at a spa. Should we talk about running? Or actually, first, before that, breaking news.
Literally.
We got broken into.
Oh yeah.
we've got
I mean, it smells bad in here today.
It does.
So you
It's
had
not
a
just
late
Sarah's
night
normal-
essentially.
Yeah, so if
Hygiene.
I look, slightly more tired than I usually do, it's because I was last in this office at 1 a.m. last night and we're recording this at, 11
And it
a.m.
has
So actually
police,
quite a long.
police helicopters, police sniffer dogs.
Yeah, so,
all that sort of stuff.
just for any criminals out there, if you do want to break into our office, good luck. Because
The response was unbelievable.
yeah, within 2 minutes, our smoke bombs went off. Which sounds like we're in some country mansion. But honestly, it was incredible. We met the police, fire brigade, the sniffer dog.
Yes, you were very
Who
good with
searched
a
the
sniffer dog.
entire
But you
building.
can't pet a sniffer dog, can you?
No, I know. I was absolutely
Yeah.
gutted. But
Yeah.
what I loved is that the sniffer dog wasn't on a lead. And then every time it came out of the building, it went back to base in its little cage in the car. And it would just sit there like, what's
Wow.
next? Where do you want me to sniff? But yeah.
We need to speak to those handlers so we can sort of somehow keep you under control a bit more.
So after the podcast, I just
I bet you where that dog
Honestly,
stays
if
is
you-
neater and tidier than your desk as well.
if you can get me a little harness or a little stab-proof vest that says police dog, I will happily wear that.
That's got very strange very quickly.
But no, yeah. So that was a very exciting Sunday
Yes.
night for me.
Yeah, that was the end to a long weekend for me as well, because I was on the phone with you guys last night in the
Yeah,
middle
we
of
were
the night.
like, "Hi, Andy. How are you?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "I'm on the M6. I can't really do that much for you
Yeah,
right
I can't help you out. But I was up on the Wirral, did a parkrun, my first parkrun in ages on Saturday, and doubled it up with a workout. So I did the parkrun first, and then
Did you run to Parkrun?
no, drove, then did a warm up, then raced. No, it's not a race. It was for me. I was testing myself to see how fast I could go. The parkrun, then took a couple of minutes recovery, and then I did 10 400 meter efforts afterwards with a 100 meter jog.
Can I
recovery.
just say, it's, it's quite an annoying flex that Parkrun that I did at a hard effort before my workout started was 16:20. No, sorry, 16:19 because it was 1 second faster than Mo had just done.
I think it was 16:30 actually.
Oh, is that what it was?
Oh, was
1
it?
second faster than Mo.
I didn't know that until Sarah
When it
pointed that
came
out to
up
me.
on Strava, I was like, oh, has Andy just gone out today to see whether he can beat Mo? And then I scrolled even more and I was like, oh no, then he did a workout
Did you win it?
afterwards.
I came second. A kid who, I mean, if I was being generous, might have been 14 or 15, but probably was about 11.
Really?
Yeah,
What's
sounds
that parkrun like? Is it on grass or?
No, it's on road, but there's little. I cannot. So if any tacticians out there who want to come and take me on in a parkrun or in any race, I can't corner. I corner like a barge.
Tacticians.
They're tight corners
tactical
on
people.
that.
Yeah, people who
course.
want to.
Sorry.
So there's some
Tom's
laughter in the
laughing
studio
from behind the
from the
camera. I've
crew.
never heard that word before.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, people
What,
who.
tacticians?
Yeah.
Tacticians.
You've never heard that word before?
No.
It's a bit like deload
Sounds
week.
like opticians.
The abuse I got for deload week.
What? As
not
in
knowing
like
what it was.
for not knowing?
No, I could tell what it was, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't a word that I was that familiar with.
No.
Well,
All right. Sorry if everyone who knows the word tactician.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day.
That's why I'm back.
Andy's back.
We say this for
Word
the
of the day,
science.
toilet paper's back in
Yeah,
his
I think
seat.
it's for the vocabulary.
You're
Right,
talking
so
about
you
your
can't-
bends.
You can't do a bend.
I'm terrible at sharp corners, and there's a few. It's 2 laps, and there's probably 3 or 4. You know, at one point there's actually like you go round some cones and turn around, but also there are 3 or 4 really sharp corners
There
which
are.
are basically
Yeah.
hairpins.
Were you wearing super shoes?
Yes,
That makes
yeah,
tight
hopeless.
bends. I remember Asaka.
Hairpins.
hairpin bends. Yeah.
Yeah. Another good word. Sarah, you heard of that one?
I have heard of that one. Surprisingly enough, I have put a hairpin in.
Right.
That just means like a tight
Yeah.
V. If
Yeah.
you imagine
No.
is it called a bobby pin?
It is
Anyway.
a bizarre course, that actually.
Yeah.
That sounds quite fun. I do love it though. Like there are some people who can corner so well, like especially if you've
Yeah.
got like a football background, it's like bam, bam.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
remember Osaka Marathon. I'd never been on a course with so many like really tight bends. And by the end, my legs were just so tired that everyone else was taking it so tightly and I was
Yeah.
doing like the
Oh, I have
widest
to do a big
possible.
wide bend as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's my tactic, but some of them there's no space to do that, so I just have to come to a dead stop, turn the corner, and then sprint to get back up to speed again.
Do you ever get the feeling as well when you are on a tight corner? I just want to do aeroplane arms like I'm a kid. Like it's like my
Yeah.
body has like a visceral reaction that it will give me some benefit if
Yeah.
I just go like, and we're turning a left.
I'm going to try that.
But I enjoyed it. It's always an amazing experience at Parkrun. There was lots of lovely volunteers. Actually, one of my old PE teachers from my old school was one of the volunteers
Colin
at the finish
Lamprey.
line. Colin Lamprey. Shout out to Colin.
Wow.
He was there. Had a little hug with him at the end, which is nice.
Oh no.
And then what was funny was the person who finished just behind me and had been in front of me for most of the run, but there was definitely the person who ended up winning or finishing first, I know it's not a race, had gone off very ambitiously. I looked at my watch about 500 meters into the park run, and this person was at least 50 meters ahead of me, and my watch was saying sub 3 minute pace for that first kilometer.
Gosh.
And none of us, I was thinking, well, no one, I'm definitely not going to run that fast. And then there was a bit of yo-yoing and people's pace in front of me. Sorry, my point was that the person behind me, Colin, the PE teacher, called out to him, oh, whatever his name was, like, oh, this is Andy. And I don't expect him to flex about like the Olympics or something, but as he started to say who I was and why he might care that I was just in front of him, I wasn't expecting it to be, he went to your school as well. I was like, oh, okay.
Do you know what, Andy? I don't think you should worry about being beaten by a 14, 15-year-old at a 5K run at the weekend, because I get beaten by 8-year-olds at tennis.
Oh no, has this got even worse?
Let's talk about your running, but also how's your tennis going? Have you won a match yet, or even a point?
No, I haven't won a match yet.
Right.
Still haven't won a match. But
Still loving it though?
I'm still loving it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Games-wise, but running-wise, I am literally out and about. I was thinking this week, I am probably doing the most amount of miles I've done in 20 years.
Wow.
And
So
you're
when you
only
were about-
21, so
Yeah, exactly. That's not surprising because you were really young 20 years ago.
Since I was really young.
yeah.
Yeah, so...
How many miles is that?
I don't want to get into figures.
You even knocked out, because we pushed the podcast recording back by an hour this morning, you were like, oh, I'm going to sneak a run in.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, it's Malaga Marathon next week.
Which you're not doing.
But you're doing the half marathon.
I'm doing a half marathon. That's a good point. Yeah. But it's,
Surprise!
Yes.
We've signed you up to the marathon.
yeah. Oh, and guess what?
What?
The weather's out.
Oh, go on then. Give us the weather report.
What do you want the weather to be for a half marathon?
Not too hot. Valencia at the
13
weekend
to
looked really
15.
hot. Yeah.
So at 8:30 in the morning, when the half marathon starts, it's going to be 12.
Oh,
Oh,
perfection.
perfect.
Clear blue skies.
What's it going to be at 10?
16,
Oh.
What about 10:05?
17.
Oh no, so you're 8:30, so 10:35.
The high for the day is 17.
Right. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, but clear blue skies.
Nice.
That sounds
You know what
absolutely
I'm
perfect.
excited for? Some consistent weather. I can't deal with the UK at the moment.
It is up and down.
It's
Well,
like,
I was
do I
thinking
need my
about how
puffer
that's going to affect
jacket?
our training because it's been down to 0, -4
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. And then in the first weekend of December, it was 14 degrees.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that Owen couldn't get a word in last week because this is boring. what are you talking about?
Can I
Sarah,
tell
have
you
been
about my running?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. So I've been to the gym, guys. I've
Well
been
done.
doing running. I'm pretty sure last week I said I was going to go to the physio. Haven't done that yet. So please, someone shout at me if I haven't gone by the end of this week. But
Okay.
my Achilles feels so much better. Did
Yeah.
a long run at the weekend. Felt really good. Feels pretty much like pain-free now. However, do you remember when you told me to tie my shoelaces a bit tighter?
Yes.
I've definitely done something to the side of my foot when I tied them too tight, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So I need to get that checked out. But actually, when I'm running, it doesn't hurt at all.
Okay, well that's a good sign.
But so yeah, I'm building back up my mileage. I'm also doing the half marathon. I was a bit like, oh, can I actually run that far? But now I'm confident at the pace that we're going, it will be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And
And at this point, actually, at the point of recording, there's still 2 weeks to go as well. So
Yeah,
you've
and
had
I've
a little bit
built
of
it
time
up.
to build up. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, as long as I can get to kind of 10 miles, I'll be happy and confident that I can do it. So I think I got to 9 miles at the weekend. So one more weekend to get to 10 and then taper down, off we go. Very excited to
And
do
you're
it.
running with Jess.
And I'm running with Jess and
Because
we're
no one wanted
running.
to run with you. You're just running on your own, aren't you?
Just absolutely on my, basically the whole weekend I'm on my Todd.
Yeah, but nothing new
Yeah.
there. But
It'll be fine.
you've agreed to, you've deigned to hold a GoPro this time, haven't you?
I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure if I've agreed to it yet.
Well,
Well, you can't come
you
unless
do
you
it
do.
and you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
But more importantly, I've been in the gym
Yeah.
and I actually really love the gym. And also, thank you so much to everyone who answered my question about how they track down PBs. There are lots of apps out there and where
You
you
were
can
asking
track.
like how do because I've only ever written it down or like I'd store it in the notes app on my phone or something.
Yeah, no,
Just what
apparently
weight
there's
I'm up
like loads of people recommended the app Heavy, Hevy, which
I
lots of
see.
people use, and they've
About
like,
how you know what
Yeah.
your PB is on individual bits of equipment in the gym.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rick, you
Yeah.
said you like the mental challenge of just remembering what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause there's
don't
not much
like
else
that.
for you to remember because you've only got like this is your 1 hour of work a week, so you can just spend the rest of the time remembering your
being
bench
like, what
press
did I
PB.
do? But speaking of the gym, today we're talking about, do you need to go to the gym to be a better runner?
Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes. You do need
All
to
right,
go.
thanks so much for listening.
Yeah,
and,
that's it. We'll see you next week.
next week. Well, I think there's lots of different things to unpick here. That's a very loose question. How do you need to go to the gym to be a better runner? Because there are, for me, the reason I didn't go to the gym consistently for so long was because I felt like it was making me a worse runner because it made it harder to fit my runs around it. So yes, you need to go to the gym, but how do you need to go to the gym in order for it to be balanced between your running and your rest of your life, and you're not just starting every run being like, oh, I'm in so much pain.
Yeah, well, that's the pain bit. I think is one of the key conversations. Like, I think if you start to go regularly and don't always look for gains every time, so don't always look for putting the weight up every single time,
Yeah.
then you'll get past the initial DOMS, and that's the bit you need to get past is that initial soreness.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a time and a place to push hard in the gym, but most of us don't need to be absolutely hammering it to the detriment of our running.
However, I would say that if you haven't been to the gym at all and you've been running for ages, then it might be that actually it takes you a little bit longer than you think and you will get DOMS.
Yeah,
for a while.
but I mean, you've got to get through that period of getting the DOMS and expecting them. And then you'll get into your comfort. And it might be the case that if you are starting a new program in the gym, or you are going to start to up things, that you actually have to dial back on your running a little bit, because even though DOMS is normal adaptation, if it means that you're just carrying yourself slightly differently, you're going to adapt in the way that you're running. If you do just try and crack on with the middle of your marathon training, for example, and you've just decided to introduce gym and then you get a little bit sore, then you might carry yourself slightly differently and pick up a niggle that then adds to it. And so you sort of, by trying to add something in that makes things better, you could make things worse.
Yeah.
So just be sensible and don't. It's extra training stimulus. It's extra stress on your body. It's extra effort that your muscles have to put in. So if you are just building it into your routine, then you might need to almost treat your running like a couple of deload weeks as you add gym training into it, so that your kind of body can adapt and not get hurt.
Well, interestingly, we asked our club, we asked the Running Channel club, do you like going to the gym? How many people do you think, as a percentage, said they do like going to the gym?
Not many.
I
Like
would've
5%.
I would
Do
have
you
thought it
think?
was
Yeah.
going to be about 10 or 15.
No, it was way more than that, which is very surprising. So 40% of people said yes, they absolutely love it, but 29% said no, I hate the gym, and then the rest didn't really have a strong opinion, but they still get S&C done. So
Yeah,
that
actually,
surprises
very
me.
well done.
Pretty dedicated. So that was a poll in the Running Channel Club. If anyone's interested in more of this madness from the Running Channel podcast, then you can head to club.therunningchannel.com to sign up and join and see what it's all about. But otherwise, let's carry on. And I've got a few questions for you. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. So if you are talking about the gym, we're talking about muscles to strengthen, why we might want to strengthen them. So obviously we want to make our body more functional and work better under pressure, particularly when we get tired at the end of a long race and stuff like that. And I've got a list of the muscles that you might want to strengthen, but a very quick quiz. So,
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Which muscles?
Well, I'm going to say hamstrings and quadriceps, but first of all, I'm going to say how many hamstrings are there? How many hamstring muscles are there?
2 in each. 2.
One? Is this a trick question?
Hang on.
No.
Tom's got his hand up. Tom, do you
well,
want to shout?
2. One in each leg.
2.
No.
Tom says 1, it's
No.
a band that goes around.
No,
Wrong.
there are three independent hamstring muscles, yeah.
In each leg?
Yeah.
So 6 total?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be weird if there was 3 total, because then one leg would have 2, and then the one leg would
The
have
third
1.
one just dangles down in the middle.
So you got the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus.
Oh, well done.
There you go.
Sorry.
Who says we can't do science when
Yeah.
Andy's not around?
Yeah. And then how many? This is not a trick question, or it might be. How many quadriceps muscles are there? So on the
4.
Hello, Sarah. We're in.
Yes.
But can you
Does that
name any of
mean
them?
your triceps are 3 muscles?
No. The tri.
Oh man.
Um,
Whoever labelled the human body.
that's a good point, actually. I'm pretty sure that the triceps just means it has 3 heads to the muscle.
Right.
And the biceps similarly it's 1 muscle but 2 heads. Oh, I could get hammered for getting this wrong now because I've started us off on a path that I don't know the answer to.
Sorry, right, let's stick to
but
leg
there are
muscles.
4 independent quadricep muscles.
So also similarly with, I always find it interesting when people talk about calf exercises,
Yeah.
because for so long I always thought whatever exercise you do that you feel it in your calves, you're doing
Yeah.
your calf. But actually there's like 2 different ways to strengthen your calf, because you've got the soleus
Yeah.
and the
The harder one to say.
gastrocnemius.
Yes.
Eh?
Well done,
Look
you.
at this,
Stop it, and
PE-GCSE coming straight back in.
Yeah, soleus
Well
is
done.
the
Thank you.
soleus is the long, deep endurance calf muscle, and that's the one that you would feel stretch if you bent your knee. If you do a classic calf stretch, so you're pushing against a wall with your back leg out, but if you bent that back knee, then you'll feel a soleus stretch.
Yeah.
And then the gastrocnemius is the 2 heads of the muscle that sit at the top of your calf. They're like really.
They're the ones where if you
calf,
cycle.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and that's the muscle towards the top of your calf. That's what you would stretch if you were stretching your leg with a straight back leg. In a
But if
calf
you're doing
stretch.
calf raises, then there's a benefit to both of those
yeah,
muscles.
it'll work both muscles, but actually you can emphasize which muscle you're going to. So you can do a bent leg calf raise. There are actually seated calf raise machines in some gyms which
Yeah.
only really work the soleus, or they sort of
Interesting.
target the soleus muscle. But if you're doing a straight leg calf raise in a Smith machine, or in a, like you've been doing it seated in a leg press machine,
Yeah.
then that would work the gastroc more. But you can combine the 2, so you can have a slight bend, or you could deliberately target them by having an extreme bend or a straight leg.
Yeah, I had to do 3 sets of each, so bent leg and straight leg, during my recovery from injury.
Because
3
that's,
times
I
a week.
think that's where you really learn about
Yeah.
all of the little isolated muscles that you need to make really, really strong. And actually what I've learned the most through doing rehab on my Achilles is just how strong and like just how much load you are putting through those muscles when you're running. So like your Achilles, for example, you need to be going like way heavier than you might think, because if you're thinking about like, okay, you're running for an hour on that muscle, is an Achilles a muscle?
No, it's a tendon.
If you're putting that much load through that tendon for that amount of time, then you have to be able to strengthen it in the gym and go pretty heavy. Otherwise it is going to kind of break down or not quite work for you.
Yeah, and if particular muscles are weak, sometimes those aren't the muscles that get hurt. Because if a particular muscle is weak, then another muscle is going to have to pick up the slack and going to have to do all of the work.
Yeah.
And so that might be that, for example, you have often weaknesses you end up getting injured somewhere else because that muscle's having to compensate for it.
Well, like when I taught Tom how to use his glutes when he was warming up, like his head's popped back up from looking at his phone.
Yeah.
He wasn't using his glutes, so I taught him how to activate his glutes before he started going off on a run, and he stopped getting back pain.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
So what did you tell him to do? So what specifically worked?
What worked best for him was just doing some, look, he's demonstrating now. If only we had another camera. Doing squats, but Tom would...
with a very, very sort of obscene pelvic thrust.
You mean before he went for a run, you basically...
Yeah, so before he went for a run, he just needed to do a few activations to like get his glutes going. So we just did ones because we were already outside. We did a simple squat, and then I was like, right, now try just by clenching your butt to get yourself back up. And that kind of activated his glutes. So
doing a couple of sets of them? 5 or 6?
Just a few, just mixed in with your warm-up.
I would often do some of that. So like I might get a TheraBand, like a elastic resistance band, and put it around my knees and then do a crab walk. So like into a slight squat position and then walk sideways. Or put the TheraBand around my ankle, both ankles, stand on one leg with a slight knee bend, and then take my free leg diagonally backwards and away from my body.
I see.
The kickback. That's what you can do like with a cable in a gym,
yes,
isn't it?
Exactly.
But you two are talking about activation techniques for your muscles. You're not talking about strengthening techniques.
Sorry, back to the gym.
Yeah, we've digressed slightly. Because when I was competing professionally, I would have been in the gym 2 to 3 times a week on top of running 12 times. So it was a lot.
For how long?
I'd have probably been in the gym for about an hour each time.
But see, you didn't, because I think a common misconception is that if you go to the gym super regularly, you're going to turn into...
What are you saying?
And obviously,
I'm massive.
Do you even lift me?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I do think that's like a big kind of misconception from people that like, if I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, I'm going to end up looking like something out of the Flintstones.
Well, that's if you work in your upper body, like if you triangle man.
But
most runners are probably just working their legs, aren't they?
Yeah, and there's no such thing as what a runner should look like. I know that Mo actually, the running channel's sort of coming for a bit of stick in this previously, and he's very proud of the fact that he can go out and run what he runs whilst also being very strong in the gym. And and in his mind, he thinks he probably doesn't look like a runner in inverted commas, but that's a nonsense. If you're out there running, you're a runner. But the importance is focusing on functional strength. So if you just go in and do the bench press every day, then that's not really going to help you very much with running. It actually might help your core a little bit, so it will help you stabilize when you're running.
Yeah.
But you're going to get much more kind of bang for your buck for your time in the gym by working on. I think I would actually mention it last week because I know he loves the gym, but he mentioned compound exercises. Things like squats and split squats and deadlifts and things like that. They actually work quite a lot of different parts of your posterior chain, different types of your muscle groups all in one, and they stabilize you through movements that trigger those muscles in the right way. So that's the kind of strength that you need.
Compound exercises. Yeah. You can spot a runner in the gym though, can't you? Because I reckon probably 90% of people in the gym are trying to be triangle man.
Trying to be triangle man.
But then, because if I go to the gym, I am probably 80% doing legs.
Yeah.
20% upper body.
Oh, really?
80% legs. So I've got 8 exercises, 8 to 10, and I just do 6. And I go in 35 minutes 3 times a week. Done.
Yeah.
Because for me, I know I can deal with 35 minutes. I enjoy it. It's fine. But any longer, I could feel it would be like, I could kind of put it off. I don't fancy going for an hour. So I just get in there, get out, and I mix these 6 exercises. I pick 6 out of the 10 kind of every day. And I just think it's quite rare to see people working on legs in the gym. So that's when you can spot another runner.
Yeah, to be fair, every single time I go in, the leg press is always free. And I'm like, oh, great. What are the chances there's only one machine?
The interesting thing, I think, is that my attitude to strength and conditioning has changed, as has my attitude to physiotherapy, actually. So because I was training so much when I was running professionally, I didn't really have much time to do more in the gym, for example. And quite often, a lot of my physio problems might have been quite acute, so they needed fixing straight away in order for me to go and race at the weekend or whatever. So I had a lot of very manual physiotherapy, like dry needling, like acupuncture, like really quite aggressive treatment where they'd get in quite deep with their thumbs or elbows or whatever into like the sore spots, try to get rid of any scar tissue, keep fascia and muscles moving freely. And that would allow me to, and I could get that every few days or whatever. And I think I actually became quite reliant on it. And then my change now from what I've done in the last few years when I had my knee problem and so on was that I could go and get physio treatment to help me with my back alignment or stretching out or whatever it might be, and to get a little bit of massage. But actually what helps me stay on top of the knee problem is putting my knee and hips and so on through those ranges of motion in the gym under like relatively heavy weight. And I notice when I don't do it, and it's not, I don't think I'm doing it to really smash up the weight. So I'm not trying to go 50, 60, 70, 80 kilograms and go up 10 kilograms a week. It's more maintenance for me, where if I go in and put the tissue in my body through those movements, then I don't get that.
Actually, you know what, Andy? I always like when you speak, but specifically that. There's a couple of points you said. It's maintenance, and I notice when I don't do it.
Yes.
For me, that is exactly the same. If I went back 10 years ago, I used to suffer from such bad back pain, like literally awful back pain. Like at work, they gave me a special chair. Like it was literally, I had to stand up.
I'm not sure that was just for the back pain.
I was going to say that at work when you say at work,
it was BBC work, When I was
but I imagine you demanded a special chair.
I need
anyway, listen,
a chair.
I'm not holding my own microphone.
Getting back to the point.
I've got a bad back.
Staying on topic. And then I started, going to the gym. Obviously, it kind of happened at the same time with a lot of operations happening about 3-4 years ago. But now I don't have any back pain.
Yeah.
And you just think, well, that's because
you get
of
the in-laws over from Canada to do all of the lifting with the babies.
To stay on topic, because we've been talking for a while, I do think the conclusion for all of this is like, yes, going to the gym will 99.99999% of time, if not 100%, will make you a better runner, but it has to be tactical. It's kind of...
You have to be a tactician about it.
You have to be a tactician about it. But also, I think the one thing that we haven't touched on as well is that, like, for me personally, I love the gym at the moment because I am seeing progress. I am seeing like little changes in my body.
Small gains.
Yeah, like, which, to be vain about it, like, it's quite exciting. Like with running,
exciting,
sometimes you don't really get that same thing. Whereas in the gym, you can actually build muscle and be like, look at that.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Chantal called me a wafer thin mint in bed the other day.
Oh my God.
I mean, we can't. It's a family-friendly podcast.
I will never unhear that. But anyway, if you are going to the gym, if you have any questions, please do email in podcast@therunningchannel.com. Or if you are part of our club, then we love talking about and having good old chats, not about how Rick is a wafer thin mint, about literally anything else would be better than that. But you are listening or watching the Running Channel podcast. Up next, we've got the news, then your questions, and then we're free of Rick for another week.
Gosh, it's a year since we were at Valencia.
It was.
Yeah. Some of us spent more of the time awake than others.
You can tell he's back. He's really enjoying this, isn't he? Yeah. He's really enjoying this.
I can't believe that was a year ago.
We should talk about Valencia Marathon results. Congratulations if you ran Valencia or if you've run a marathon recently. It's a huge, huge achievement. Yeah. Special mention.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of annoyed about it, but special mention to our videographer Tito.
What a legend.
Absolutely smashed his goals. Like, his pacing was so good. For the last 3 weeks, all we've heard is him saying, how should I pace it? Should I pace it like this?
Yeah.
Should I pace it? But he's
been so diligent with his training as well. And you guys have been, throughout your running history, incredibly evenly matched.
Yeah, not anymore.
Well, he's run 3:32.
3:32.
So Sarah, that's got to be next for you, because you've crossed the finish line. I mean, admittedly, Tito, tactically, if anyone hasn't listened to this episode of the podcast, shafted you a little bit a few months ago when you did your 10K together, because he deliberately started and crossed the mat a second behind you, so that when you finished together, he finished 1 second faster
Love
than
you
you.
too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has absolutely smashed it. His half marathon is now like 140 something. His marathon is 332.
Gosh, that's fast.
2025 is going to be a bad year for me trying to keep up.
Yeah.
But no, he has absolutely smashed it. And also some incredible other results as well. Like I just saw lots of people having incredible days out, despite the fact that it was so hot.
Yeah.
I think it was like 25 or 26 degrees when some people were running in the city.
Yeah, gosh.
But yeah, really, really good results. Also, I did see people as well who had a bad day in the office, but like, don't worry, it happens to us all. Marathons are absolutely brutal if you go out and have a hard day, because you can't just go, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. So don't worry, pick yourself up.
Yeah.
Listen to some nonsense from us and go again.
Pacing, getting your pacing right. Or as Andy says to me, Rick, you've only got one pace.
I saw you called us one of your Strava titles the other day, something about apparently I've only got one pace. It's very
You
sassy.
have literally every single
5:30 per kilometre,
5:30.
everything.
Bam,
Well,
5:30.
Parkrun.
Yeah, I tried to change that just because I had your voice in the back of my head.
And still ended up at 5:30.
Still ended up at 5:30.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Right, should we do some questions?
Let's.
Chris from Greece, although he doesn't give anything more specific than that.
I just like it, just in
I think
general.
Greece is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
It feels very exotic.
Thanks for the podcast. You've
Not
all
exotic
been
pacing.
erotic.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Erotic,
Next.
not exotic. Yeah. Thanks for the podcast. You've all been a big inspiration to me to start running again. Well, that's good news, isn't it? I used to race 100 and 200 meters when I was at school and wanted to be part of the Greek national team. I had a sub 11 seconds for the 100 meters.
Wow.
But I unfortunately felt unwell and this completely stopped me from running. When I eventually started racing again, my times were almost 2 seconds off the pace and I lost all motivation to run at all. I spent the following 14 years not running, gaining weight, losing weight, started smoking, then I quit smoking. I found the running channel on YouTube and later the podcast, and listening to Andy's stories about how he reflects on his professional career but still takes on new challenges like a marathon, as well as Rick's comeback from surgery, really helped me rediscover my mojo.
Nothing to do with Sarah.
No,
Not-
I have,
no.
I have given zero help to Chris.
Fair enough.
Doesn't even acknowledge
No,
you
you're not even
exist.
you're not even a footnote.
No, not a footnote. Nothing.
You know what I love is that I was literally thinking that. I was like, Chris, excuse me, there's 3 people on this podcast. But sorry, I need to be less snarky.
And now that I shared my sad story, I get a chance to get some airtime. I'd like to ask you a question as well. How much time before a marathon should you run a half marathon as preparation for the race, and how hard should you race it? Keep up the good work, and thank you for keeping me company while I run. Well, that's a nice email, isn't it? First of all.
Lovely.
So I'd say,
Really
yeah, I think it's
lovely
brilliant.
for you two.
Yeah. Well, if we're carrying the show, so I think that it depends on when your longest run is in the program. So a lot of people have their long run maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks out from the finish. I would be putting that
4 weeks
for your longest run on the 3
And
to
then you
4
taper
weeks
for
at the
3
most.
weeks.
Yeah.
What, you're tapering? But on a half marathon, you're only tapering for 10 days, aren't you?
Yeah, but this is for a marathon.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wouldn't want to be doing your longest long run any closer than 3 weeks to race day, and even that's pretty close. I think.
Okay.
And similar with this half marathon, I think you could put it in the middle of your block as a gauge, just so like whether that's 6 to 8 weeks out from race day to give you a good hard workout at faster than marathon pace as well, because that would be the point, is that if you feel like you can do your 13.1 miles a little bit faster than race pace, then going at marathon race pace for 13 miles on the day is going to feel a lot easier. But you could do it, like I said, I think actually there are some people that might peak with their longest long run, say 6 weeks out from the marathon, and then they might almost be maintaining and dropping down from that 20-mile long run to sort of 15 or 16 miles on the next few weekends. You could then replace one of those long runs with a half marathon race, because bear in mind you do a warm up and a cool down, warm down, and then that's going to mean that overall mileage is a bit longer than a half marathon anyway. So yeah, I think you've got a window there, probably 8 weeks to go until about 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to go at the most, to do a hard half marathon. But I'd keep any really long and really hard efforts out of that final 3.5 weeks, really.
Yeah. Best of luck, Chris.
Yeah.
Let us know how you get on.
Yeah. The whole tapering thing, you can take it a bit the wrong way. It could go wrong, couldn't it? If you just go and do nothing.
Well, I mean, that would be
is-
your instinct, wouldn't it?
But
No. I'm committed because you put it in my diary what I'm
Yeah, I know,
supposed to
as
do.
long as-
So I follow the plan.
I think you're
honestly
like Ron
think-
Burgundy on Anchorman, where if you put something on the teleprompter, you just read
Just
it.
read
if I
it.
put anything in your calendar, you'd be there.
I'll just do
You'd
it.
be like,
Yeah.
I'm
out.
in Australia. I'm not really sure why, but
Yeah.
you said it.
Andy said it was in the diary.
I think that's where a training plan really comes into its own, though, because it gives you that like structured taper down.
Yeah.
It's so you can be so motivated to build up, but then if you have to set your own like, right, okay, I'm easing back on it now, it can be so hard to be so diligent with it. Great. Well, we got through that.
Yeah.
Yes. We
There's
got it.
still
I'm
the smell
excited.
of the smoke bomb in
Yeah,
the
the
air
smoke bomb.
but we got through it.
And if you like the podcast and you'd like a little bit more of this, then you should join the Running Channel Club. There's absolutely no pressure to, but we love doing it. We record an extra episode of the podcast every single week, and that pops into the Running Channel Club once a week. And that is definitely a little bit more anarchic and weird and bonkers. than
And
this
for
one.
a little kind of sneak behind the scenes, this week's Running Channel Club podcast is on the origins of the Running Channel. So
Yes.
we're going to be delving into the archives, how it began, how it started, why Rick and Andy are
Yeah,
friends.
I'm going to have to try and remember actually
Why we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the stuff that's in there.
Yeah.
And also you get access to things like live Q&As with members of the Running Channel team and experts that we get in every week. So it's hopefully a little bit in addition to all of the stuff that we do already. None of that's changing. So this
Yeah.
podcast, all of our YouTube stuff stays exactly the same.
And don't worry, we'll be back for some more nonsense next week. We'll see
Bye.
you then. Bye.